it went from passing the torch to something that it was very firmly planted in my mind. The plans that Del Rey had for where the EU was going next were just fantastic. And that was one of the seeds we tried to lay with Apocalypse was, we just tried to open up all kinds of different story possibilities at the end of Apocalypse so that you could have just a million different kinds of stories for the Jedi and for the rest of the galaxy. And that's what we've been intending to pass the torch to. In my mind, if the EU had continued forward as we had expected it to, I would say that Alana would probably end up being my greatest contribution because of the future that, was the groundwork that was laid for her future.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential in what we saw as a possible future for her.
Yeah, she was really, in a huge extent, she was being set up to be the chosen one. Mm-hmm. That Anakin turned his back on, and that nobody ever really was able to assume that full mantle of. And she really was being, in my mind at least, being set up to become that chosen one.
Do you think, in your head, just based on your experience, do you think there's any way that Vestara and Ben could ever work out their differences and end up together, or is it just kind of doomed to never work? In your opinion,
I don't see it ever happening. I think that fundamentally they're coming from opposite ends of the pole, and that they had that time together, but it's just they're two different people. They have two different views of the Force. They have two different views of their place in the galaxy and what people that have their talents should be doing. So they could never have a happy marriage.
They probably need a lot of marriage counseling.
Yeah, and I pity the poor counselor who tried to put that together.
Purely speculation, or I guess opinion on your part. If you were, handed the reins to write the script for Episode 7, what are just some personal things that you would enjoy to see for, future installments of Star Wars?
Well, I think just as what I would do as a Star Wars fan, and that would be Jaina's story. Mm-hmm. I would really love to see Jaina's story told of her, coming to terms with who she is and what she's sacrificed and finding a way to have a family or not, and be happy with Jag in the future, or just tell their whole story.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to see, and we tell the story of Jaina kind of progressing to become of equal stature with Luke.
Definitely,
of equal stature with where Luke is. At 20 years, 25 years after Return of the Jedi, not where he is now, where he's become a person that needs to pass the torch on. I wouldn't take her that far, but I would take her to being the leader of the Jedi and so forth.
Yeah, I remember I was pretty excited when we initially heard about the sort of the Jedi trilogy that was proposed, and I agree with you that was something that I was really excited to see move forward, was kind of her taking a center role and progressing as a character.
Yeah, yeah.